Welcome back to another video, guys. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the first announcement for the first half of August Xbox Game Pass games. Now, it's a smaller list. Again, there's nothing in here that I think is going to blow people away out of surprise. We are getting very close to the release of Starfield, and it feels like Xbox is just kind of waiting for that massive September with Starfield coming out, and then after that in October with Forza Motorsport. And in between, we've been getting smaller releases into the service, and this announcement really is no different. First of all, you have a game here called A Short Hike, which is coming August 3rd for cloud, console, and PC. They say your hike, climb, and soar through the peaceful mountainside landscapes of Hawk Peak Provincial Park, follow the Mark Trail, or explore the backcountry as you make your way to the summit. So it's essentially just an exploration hiking game. You have Broforce Forever, which is a pretty cool one. It's coming August 8th for cloud, console, and PC, and this is just an update to Broforce with a bunch of new stuff in it, new characters, and an expansion campaign, all that type of stuff. So new unlocks as well. So pretty cool. If you've ever played Broforce, it's a ton of fun. It's really, really cool to jump into, especially with your friends and stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, just go and try it out. You'll have fun playing through it. Side-scrolling action, run and gun style of game. Limbo, I mean, this is a classic for a lot of people who have played it. This is coming August 9th on cloud, console, and PC. Airborne Kingdom coming August 10th, cloud, console, and PC. It's a city building management game. Everspace 2, this is what I'm actually pretty excited for. And this is coming to cloud and the Xbox Series X and S. And I believe this was previously already out on PC, but this is coming now to console for the first time in the service here. And it says that it is an RPG style of sci-fi shooting flight game. Space fighting, basically, is guess what you can call it. Specifically, it says embark on a sci-fi adventure where massive handcrafted areas are packed with secrets, puzzles, and perils. Level up, craft, and loot better gear to survive on the edge of space. I've seen a lot of gameplay of this game. It looks like it is going to be one that I will be jumping into. And that's the first half announcement. They also do mention here that available yesterday, when this came out on August 1st, Celeste, cloud, console, and PC. If you haven't played Celeste, maybe one of my favorite games of all time. It is a side-scrolling platformer game where it's really fast-paced. When you die, you're instantly spawned back in. Fast movements and just kind of having to get through by shifting through the different parts of the level. And it's just a ton of fun. It really, really is. And I can't recommend Celeste anymore, even if my description of what the game is wasn't that great. But definitely go check it out and play it. So let's jump over here to the next piece of news. Xbox Cloud Gaming. If there's one thing that I think shows that Xbox Cloud Gaming is becoming more and more popular, is the fact that there are now queues for some of the games that you load up into. And I've only started noticing that in the last couple of months. Previously, whenever I jumped into cloud gaming, I never really had to wait. You were instantly put into the game. But in the last couple of months, like I said, I've seen this loading screen come up where it tells you there's a lot of people playing and the wait time is about a minute or sometimes even more. I think 5 minutes I've seen before. And it just tells you that a lot of people are now jumping into using the cloud gaming service. Cloud gaming is becoming more popular. It's becoming more usable for a lot of different people now. Whereas previously you really had to be in a place where there was really good internet connection, and that's becoming more widespread. So obviously more people are going to be jumping into the service, and it's why there's such a big debate over the future of gaming, especially when it came to the Activision Blizzard acquisition, specifically focusing on cloud gaming, with Xbox Cloud Gaming being the best service out there. And it doesn't seem like anybody is really going to be able to match them, at least at this point. Not saying that isn't going to happen in the future. I mean, you had a company like Google come in with enough resources to be able to compete with Xbox, and they just didn't run the business properly and they shut down. You also have other cloud streaming services out there like Nvidia GeForce Now, which is more of the bring your own games cloud streaming service. There's actually a lot of those out there, and Xbox is actually making deals with those companies. But cloud gaming is going to continue to get bigger and continue to get better, and it's already getting more popular. But this article here is talking about GTA 5. We know GTA 5 has dropped back into Xbox Game Pass, meaning it is available in cloud services. And they say here that Xbox Cloud Gaming is seeing increased queue times as demand surges, and people are blaming GTA 5, but is something more going on? That's always the question. Is it overall more people jumping into cloud gaming, or is it because of a specific game that's dropped into Xbox Game Pass that is pushing the service forward? Specifically, they say here, even off peak, I found myself in situations where a cloud game could take anywhere up to 5 minutes to get going. Before writing this article, I sought to test it out for myself and nabbed a 3-minute queue time followed by a further 3 to 4 minutes of sorry, this is taking longer than we expected queue timing. Some users on Reddit have reported queues of anywhere up to an hour, though it surely strikes me as a bug, but it's hard to know exactly what the situation is per region. You can see some of these wait times. There's actually a screenshot here saying wait is about 60 minutes. I've never seen 60 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen more than 5 minutes in terms of a queue when I've tried it out, but these queues are happening. And the question here is Xbox going to continue to be expanding out their server capacity faster to make sure that these queues don't happen? Because cloud gaming, if it continues to expand and more people are starting to use it, a lot of people are going to be turned off if they're trying to play a game and they think that they're going to be avoiding downloading games. They're going to be avoiding the waiting for getting it, downloading from the store, installing it, all that type of stuff. That just be hit with a queue screen. I think that will take away a lot of the allure of cloud gaming. For me, I mean, that is the main thing for cloud gaming, is that it's instant. You can just check out a game real quick. You don't have to download it to whatever native device that you're playing it on, and you can check it out on any screen that you're on, especially with some of the great stuff Xbox has been doing, which has been adding touch controls to a lot of these games. If you just quickly want to see what the game is all about, you jump into cloud gaming on your phone with touch controls, and you get to see if it's something you're going to want to download later or continue to play. So that's a great thing. But if these queue screens become more and more prominent, that's going to be something that I think deters people from even wanting to use cloud gaming in the future instead of just downloading it directly onto their console. And they actually did an analysis of this in this article, and they kind of say the same thing here, that queues like the ones that we are seeing are another pain point for these servers, on top of not having steady internet connections everywhere, especially when you're outside of the house. So cloud gaming is great, but there are definitely some pain points that do need to be worked out, especially when you're paying, like they say here, $16 a month. One of the main reasons people are paying for Game Pass Ultimate is to be able to play these games everywhere. Now, we do know Xbox has also said that they've sacrificed the console in order to prepare for the future of cloud gaming. So you could pretty much bet they're going to continue to try to build out this infrastructure and reduce queue times like this. But I think if you're on the Xbox side of things, if you're on the business side of things, this is showing that people are using it, and it's continuing to grow, so much so that there is queues for using the service. Now let's jump over and talk about Transformers. So Activision, we know that they published some great Transformers games, and these are games that I think a lot of people would love to see come back when this deal does close, especially if they're just dropped into Xbox Game Pass with maybe some backwards compatibility enhancements. I think it would be a great move because they are great games and they're expensive now to actually go out and buy, at least physically, some of these titles here that were published. There was a report the other day, however, that I talked about where it was claimed that the Transformers games were actually lost. They couldn't find them on the hard drives, so they weren't sure if they would ever be able to bring them back. And now some good news on this. That has essentially been debunked. That is not true. That claim was made in error. It says here that to clarify, comments that suggest Transformers games have been lost were made in error. We apologize to Activision and regret any confusion. They've been great partners and we look forward to future opportunities to work together. And the games are specifically talking about Transformers Devastation, Transformers Fall of Cybertron, Transformers Rise of Dark Spark, and Transformers War for Cybertron, all published by Activision. And Lulu Cheng Meserve actually commented on this as well, saying these headlines are wrong. We have the code. It's not lost and never was. So now we have hope again that these Transformers games are going to be dropped into Game Pass once this deal closes, and Xbox is going to be able to jump into that back catalog and give us more of these releases. One of the things that I remember Phil Spencer talking about, either tweeted it or something, when talking about this deal, was that he was interested in the rich back catalog of Activision Blizzard games, which was hinting at that they were going to be bringing a bunch of those over to the service. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be super cool to see when this deal closes, how fast we get a Game Pass launch from Activision Blizzard's catalog, whether that's the older Call of Duties. I mean, they've turned on the servers and we've seen the complete revitalization of those older Call of Duties for good reasons, because they are the best ones. And hopefully that's just kind of a hint as to what Xbox is planning on doing with these older games, which is giving us the opportunity to go in and play them right away. And for the multiplayer games, giving us the opportunity to go in and play online with other gamers in the Xbox ecosystem. That's honestly been a huge advantage just in these last couple of weeks of being on Xbox. I mean, you've seen people running out and buying Xboxes literally just to play these older Call of Duty games, which is just crazy because, I mean, you can't play them on PlayStation. So cool stuff to see. And hopefully, like I said, Transformers does come out. Now let's talk about this. We've seen lots of stuff here when it comes to performance of games throughout this generation. I would personally say, and I could be wrong on this, but just kind of sitting back and putting everything into perspective, throughout these first 3 years, overall, there's been a lot more positive cases from the Xbox Series X, from the PlayStation 5, and even from the Xbox Series S in terms of a far better experience compared to the last generation when it comes to frame rates and especially when it comes to loading times. Like, I think that alone has been far better than the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Yes, we've seen some 30 FPS games that have caused outrage. Like, if you remember the whole Gotham Knights thing, Redfall, and then of course Starfield coming 30 FPS on Xbox, which I honestly don't think is that big of a deal for that game. But hey, a lot of people are going to complain about it. I'm still going to be playing it on Xbox. But overall, we've seen a lot of 60 FPS games, far more than the 30 FPS. And now we have another big one here that if you're on the Xbox side of things, at least, whether you're an X or an S, it sounds like it is going to be hitting 60 frames per second, which I think is a massive win. And there is a couple of things here to keep in mind. They don't specifically break down every single mode that's going to be in this game, but they do say this, and this is from the Lords of Fallen Twitter account. They say, yes, 60 FPS on Xbox Series X, S, and PlayStation 5 is going to be coming. So I guess also on PlayStation 5, this is a great thing, but Xbox Series X and S specifically, that's great. Xbox Series S to me is the very impressive thing. Kind of expected it for the X and for PlayStation 5, but if it is 100% true that there's a 60 FPS mode here for Lords of Fallen on the S, that's a big win. And it really, to me, shows the difference in the development styles, the development teams. It makes the biggest difference out there. I mean, we're looking at Baldur's Gate 3 right now. I know I've talked about this, I think 3 videos straight or 2, but that development team has essentially admitted the reason why they are having issues with the Xbox Series S version is just because they haven't been able to develop it the way that they want. It's to utilize the Series S. They're having issues with it, but it actually isn't the console holding back the game. And we're going to have to wait until they work out the kinks with the couch co-op to get an Xbox release date. But then you have other stuff here like Lords of Fallen who are confident and are already telling people expect 60 frames per second on console. And I think that just really does show the kind of difference in development teams out there, where some people are able to kind of grasp the development and optimization for these consoles better than other studios. And that's not really a shot at any other studios. I guess it depends on the lead platform. I also guess it depends on the tools, if they're being utilized properly, and then some of the different things within the game that make it potentially a bit harder, such as something like split screen couch co-op. Because we did kind of see the split screen couch co-op thing have issues as well with Halo Infinite, but I personally believe that is more so because of the Xbox One. And if they weren't actually putting Halo Infinite on the Xbox One, there would have been no issues with getting couch co-op into Halo Infinite. But I mean, I could be wrong on that as well, as they did just completely scrap it. But then we actually saw the hack here, which allowed you to play split screen couch co-op in Halo Infinite, and it seemingly worked flawlessly. So they just, I guess, because of the fact that they couldn't get this working across all the different platforms out there, specifically I think the Xbox One, they had to cancel it across the board. And I think at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the Xbox One, we would have couch co-op on Halo Infinite on the Series X and on the Series S. But hey, there it is. Lords of Fallen, if you're looking to play this game, expect 60 frames per second on the Xbox consoles and on the PlayStation 5. Now, let's talk about some PS5 stuff here. PS5 sales have jumped 75% in the UK following the sale. So as we know, PS5s are selling very well, and they're going to continue to sell well. One of the things that is going to push this console even further is when they hit that certain threshold of sales, like they've hit 40 million, and then they're able to actually cut the price to make it more enticing for people to go out and buy. And then they're also going to be able to release things like potentially a slim version of this console. And I mean, we may even see a pro version of the console with all of the rumors. But it says here, according to GfK data, the PS5 is up 63% week on week in terms of revenue. Last week was reportedly the third strongest week of the year for the PS5, with the only better performing weeks coming in February due to God of War Ragnarok's bundle. And the standard PS5 was up 205% in units. According to the GfK data, several retailers also twinned this price cut with some unofficial bundles, which included titles such as Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, Forspoken, and Saints Row. So obviously, when your console is selling well and the demand is still very high and there's enough supply to meet that demand, and you cut the price of it, you should expect even more sales of that console. I think honestly now, when you look at all of the stuff happening, announcing the 40 million units, the price cuts, the fact that we've seen all these rumors, I think PlayStation is setting themselves up for a big reveal for a Slim and a Pro console to be announced, which I think kind of is ridiculous in terms of the Pro console stuff, but hey, it is seemingly going to happen with all the information that has come out. Now, Xbox, we know they love to release controllers. There is a new one here. I do just want to quickly mention they announced this brand new controller into the Xbox lineup called the Storm Cloud Vapor Special Edition. You can take a look at it here. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm probably not going to buy it though, because I have way too many controllers, and unless it's like a special edition one specifically for a game, not that interested in these just randomly new colors. It also, I believe, comes here with a new background, as you can see here on the Xbox dashboard. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to be $70 and it is available for pre-order today if you're looking to add to your Xbox controller. Now, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, let's talk about that, because as we know, it released on the series and the PlayStation 5. It was only next gen. And now it looks like it isn't going to be only next gen, as there is this report here that Star Wars Jedi Survivor is in the early stages of development for both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And the graphics in that game look really good. And there was a ton of technical issues though when it launched. That was one of the biggest things here with Star Wars Jedi Survivor, is that it released in a bad state. With even how good the game was from all the reviews, from the story and the gameplay and all that type of stuff, it released in a bad state. And now they're trying to make this for the PS4 and Xbox One. And to me, I don't even know how they're going to be able to get this to run there if they weren't able to optimize it properly for the current gen of the consoles. But it says here, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to even more consoles, but we're not talking about the Nintendo Switch or some unannounced next gen thing. Instead, Respawn is working on dedicated versions for last gen systems on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Announced today during EA's earnings call, the publisher revealed that Respawn is in the early stages of development to bring Jedi Survivor to PS4 and Xbox One. Super interesting here, because we are in 2023. You're seeing a lot more abandonment of those consoles as they're getting way too old. They're getting way too hard to develop for. Now you have EA coming out here and starting a game in the early stages of development for a game that's already released for these older consoles. They obviously have a ton of numbers that they look at from a business perspective, and they can see that there is still way more people playing on the older consoles than there are on the newer consoles. That's the only thing I can think of, and they want to be able to cash in on that and make that money. They can't be abandoning 100+ million PlayStation 4s and 50+ million Xbox Ones, even in 2023, 10 years after the release of those consoles, which makes it even crazier when we're hearing rumors about a mid-gen refresh for the PlayStation 5 with a PS5 Pro. But hey, EA, I mean, it's fine. It's cool that they're doing this. And I think more developers and publishers, if they are going to be releasing games for the PS4 and Xbox One, they still want to do that. I think this is honestly the way to do it, similar to what Hogwarts Legacy did. You put out the game on the current generation of consoles, and then you put out the PS4 and Xbox One versions after, because those are consoles that clearly, make it much harder to optimize these games for across the board when you're developing them for such more powerful devices like the Series X, the PS5, and higher powered PCs, that if you are trying to put it all out at the same time, again, referencing, I think, Halo Infinite, which I think the biggest issue with Halo Infinite was releasing this game on the Xbox One, it's going to cause development issues. So this is a smart move if you want to put the game out onto the PS4 and Xbox One. Follow this model as well as follow what they did with Hogwarts Legacy. So, I mean, you're cashing in, I guess, on all of those consoles and you're letting people still be able to experience the game, but you're not affecting the core, the main way the game was intended to be experienced. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to leave the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.